And welcome in, everybody. It's from in here King Pepe the Second, bringing you the latest Fiend Hunter guide for Giant Rue Water type. I was gonna upload this video yesterday, but real life happened. So here we are now. So if you're new to my channel, if you're new to Brown Desk 2, welcome on in. It's great to have you. And if you are really actually new, then you just came in time because we're gonna be having our summer update, right? Third anniversary right around the corner here next month. So brace yourselves for it. But before we hop into it, I just want to say a few things first, though. So, obviously, if you enjoy the content, like and subscribe. If it helps you out, I'm glad it does. But I wanted to say that, okay, so when it comes to the guides I make, I just wanted to say that I just keep it pretty simple, to be honest. I know that I'm not most likely the best out there or know as much as, a lot of other players, that make guides, might, you know what I mean? Have more knowledge, just to say. I know I'm like stumbling here, but I just do this for fun. I don't really do this to sweat. I don't really do overcomplicated builds and stuff like that. I do my best to just pick a team, and I normally just run with what I feel works, and if it does, that's awesome. And then I just make the guide. That's how I normally do these. So if it does help you out there, and or if it is a great reference for you guys, then I'm really glad it helps. And that's all I really wanted to say. So with that being said, let's get it. Okay. So ignore the other two teams. I was experimenting. Team 1, though, this is the team we're going to focus on right up here. Okay. So Team 1 is going to consist of Helena, Deanna, Olstein, Venaka, and Dalvi. So we're going to take a look at them. Okay. And let's go down to level 10 real quick. And let's get it. Okay, so formation-wise, right? And also gear management, right? So first things first, Rue, in this case, is going to be a physical type boss. So I know, right? Why do I have magic resistance armor on instead? And Deanna's the only one that has defense. Well, thing is, when I actually was just doing this when she was like first dropped, what was it, yesterday? I actually totally forgot, and I just threw some gear on Venaka, Dalvi, and everybody else, right? And then when I went to go do the boss, right, after I faced it and I passed it, right, I was like, okay, but then I noticed, I'm like, oh, they had magic resistance armor on, right? So the thing is, it's because of Helena. Helena's top idol actually supplies a barrier to the team, in case you guys don't know that. So I believe that was why a lot of they all survived the hits, right? I think that was the reason why. And also because of Allstein's Sage of Blue Cloud skill ability, because he actually reduces the attack, both magic and physical, whenever he uses skill, right? So that was another thing that played into this. So technically, you can pass this using magic resistance gear, obviously tier 4 only, guys, okay? Remember, tier 4, okay? But yeah, you can actually pass this using this armor, okay? But I'm just going to, like, tell you, okay, regardless, let you guys know. So, if you don't feel as confident, with my words, that's okay. Just go and equip, the usual armor. Invulnerability. Oh my god. Invulnerable armor, tier 4. Okay, gives you defense. Obviously, I have a lot of defense. But you want to basically place critical damage percentage numbers on the substats, if anything, for like your main damage dealers over here, Venaka and Dalvi. Right? And then the Helm of Carnage, tier 4. More defense, and obviously these would be like critical damage percentage numbers. Okay, I know I gotta change this one, but like this is on Deanna, by the way. But like I'm just saying, if you don't feel as confident with using Fiend Guard tier 4 armor or the Radiant Wisdom or Solar Brilliance tier 4s, that's perfectly okay. But if you do, reason why I even equipped this was because I had the substats on here were like magic, and I was using a lot more magic, right, for my team builds. Okay, that's why I slapped it on them, without thinking like, oh man, this isn't defense armor. But yeah, so it worked for me though, okay? For Venaka and Dalvi, basically you just want to have them do as much damage as possible, obviously. So Demon's Forbidden Book tier 4 I used for Dalvi. Substats I had was more magic percentages, and I kind of balanced it out with her, to be honest, and that's what I'll normally say. Balance it out, see how much of what you have on them. So like if they have more flat stats, put a little bit more percentage numbers of magic. If they have vice versa, the same thing, more magic percentage, add a little bit more flat stats of magic, and you should be balancing it out that way. That's what I did. So rest of her gear, Venomous Touch tier 4. This is where I got a lot of the crit. Gloves, I use Shackle of Treachery, tier 4, right? You can also use Dragon Scales Protection, tier 4 as well, okay, which I used on Venaka. And then as for Venaka's weapon, I had her signature, which was Sing in Harmony, added just an exclusive attribute of more magic percentage, 45. If you don't have it, that's okay. You can either just use the Demon's Forbidden Book, tier 4, or you can even use the Eye of the Destroyer, tier 4, obviously. I know, this one right here, tier 4, okay? Even Dalvi's signature, just substitute it, you know, for either Solar Brilliance, Radiant Wisdom, or even the Helm of Carnage for the defense if you like to, okay? So this is what I use gear-wise for, and like I say again, always just balance out your stats, okay? Make sure you have, like, at least, you know, a little bit more than one other, so to say, if you can. As for your supporters, you just want them to survive. That's really it. I used Allstein a little bit more for attack, just a little bit, since he is, you know, in this case, going to be used for this team. But other than that, you want to focus more on your DPS units, okay? As for bonds, I ended up using for Dalvi. Let's see. I used her Bright Moon instead of her summer vacation. Like I said, I balanced it out. I needed a little bit more here. Either one could work technically. I mean, she does have property damage in each of them, so it really isn't that big of a deal if you choose one over the other. But this does give you more flat stat for magic, and as for her, she gives you more percentages. Since I had a lot more, you know, flat stat on my gear, I just put the percentage. But that's what I did. Venaka, I used her Wind Dancer one, okay? Now, her DJ one does give you a lot of crit damage. But the thing is, Venaka, she doesn't need an insane amount because this boss in particular is going to give you a lot of buffs, okay? So you don't really need to go all out with this. So, if anything, I would choose Wind Dancer personally, okay? It gives you more magic percentage attack, right, than her DJ one. Both give you wind damage property, so in all honesty, it's great all around. That's what I would use for this boss at least. As for everybody else's, it doesn't really matter what their bonds are. I chose Sage of Blue Clouds. You don't really have to do that if you don't want to. I did it because, you know, defense, magic resistance, you know. I was like, okay, I'll just put this because Rue's a physical, right? For Helena, I chose her B Idle one, okay? I needed some more flat stuff for health because this one's percentage. So I was like, let me just do that. And then as for Deanna, I just used her Anti-Dystopia for this one. Okay, technically I could use this one too. Don't matter. Right, I could just put some more defense on her. Right. Her health went down a little bit, but you know what? It's okay. She still has a lot of health. But yeah, so there you have it. That's the gear setup. That's the bond setup. Okay. One other thing I wanted to cover in this too, and if you want to skip ahead and get straight to the fight, that's okay too. I got the timestamps below in my description. But let's look at Allstein. Okay, so if you do have Sage and Blue Clouds, right, you don't have to go all out with his build or enhancement, so to say. Because look at him. I have him a +2 for both, right? Both of his costumes. The one thing, though, however, I would like to say is when it comes to his skill tree, I would recommend, now this is my recommendation, I would go for the skill range and for the cooldown time. So when it comes to any character in this game, the one thing that I judge by is, okay, so what does their skill tree have that I can use, right? Meaning, I always look for any, you know, time reduction on cooldown or SP reduction. That's the first thing I look for. So in this case, Allstein has a cooldown time of 2, right? Because if you don't level it up, it's 5 turns instead of 3. Now, you want to get it to 3 is because, you know, you can use his skill every other turn, which is really nice. Not to mention, if you also level up his skill tree here with the range, you know, you see how it goes from the cross in order, and then it goes into the 9 square tile. That's really helpful in a lot of ways. And for this boss in particular, it does help, which you'll end up seeing. So my recommendation, I would go for the cooldown time, and I would go for the range. You don't necessarily have to do the increase in turn. It reduces the enemy's attack by just 2 more turns, and magic type reduces their magic attack by 2 more turns. So basically 4 turns. You don't necessarily have to do it, but you can if you like to. But I would highly recommend doing these 2 first. That's just me, okay? As for Helena, top idol one, I would just go for the cooldown time, if anything. That's a really nice one, by the way, because it's 3 turns. Now, barrier-wise, she supplies more barrier to herself, or for her allies, I should say. Right? You can do it. Honestly, I would recommend it because she still is helpful with her barrier skill. Especially if you +4 her, it goes up to 70%, I believe. Right? So let's see. Yeah, it goes to 70%. So, like, you can get away with it. Even at +2, you can get away with it because it is actually at +2 with the skill tree leveled up. It is actually still at 64%. It's just that at +3, the SP cost goes down by 1 point. So you can actually get away with her at +2 for this one, okay? As for Venaka, okay, so Venaka, now they are rerunning DJ Venaka, okay? If you are interested, I would just go for her or get a copy of her in the Powder of Hope shop after her rerun banner ends, because we're so close to the 3rd anniversary that, you know, and even Mamonir, you know, because she's a supporter, you know how strong supporters are in this game. So that's what I would recommend, not going too crazy with her, okay? But if we're looking at her costume and her skill tree wise, okay? Oh yeah, we're gonna get into this after I talk about this one. But as for her skill tree, I would definitely get the cooldown time, okay? Now, it's the other two are basically just more attack and more range. The range one, that's gonna be up to you, mind you guys. That's up to you what you want to do with that. But I think that if you level it up, I believe it actually covers all 3 weak spots on Rue. Because since it is actually upgraded more with 4 more tiles, I believe it actually reaches the back where Rue's other weakness spot is. But regardless, even if you don't do it, you should still be doing a great amount of damage regardless. And even I would say, and by the way, I would totally recommend going for the skill cooldown, by the way, for Venaka DJ. And skill range, that's up to you to decide. But you do end up hitting her, or Rue's, what's it called? Weak spot in the back if you do. But, if we go and look at her plus-wise here, right? So with skill tree on, or with the cooldown time, excuse me, with the cooldown time with the skill tree, it's 3 turns, correct? In all honesty, you can get away with her at a +1 or +2, really. You don't have to, like I said, you don't have to go all out for this boss, mind you. Okay? Now, as for not gear-wise, sorry. As for her, belly dancer one, or her wind dancer, it just adds more damage, right? And it actually adds 25% more wind vulnerability, which is always nice to have. So out of all 3 of them, I would go for this one, just to add more wind vulnerability. Mind you guys, she's also used for Nebris, okay? So keep that in mind too. So that's what I would personally go for. Not to mention she does have an AoE range of 9 already, so you don't have to worry too much about leveling her up all the way if you don't want to, okay? At least that's my opinion about it, you know? Now, as for the burst on DJ Venaka. So, DJ Venaka was actually picked for being one of the costumes to have this on her, okay? So, if we look at her, burst 1 SP, right, goes up by 1. However, the cooldown time gets reduced by 2. So, if you end up using the burst ability, her cooldown time is going to be 1 turn. Now, mind you, if you have a really built DJ Venaka, you're going to be doing a lot of damage on this boss, right? More so where I don't even think Dalvi is going to be in comparison than to DJ Venaka's damage output, like for real. Burst 2 gives you an additional 155% more damage. And then at +3, or I should say, sorry, not +3, at burst 3, sorry. At burst 3, the damage goes up by 315% more. So, like, that's a lot, man. That is actually a lot. So, altogether, SP cost is 7. However, you know, if you have the SP cost to actually do this every single turn, which you actually should, and technically with Alstein, if you do have both of his costumes, or even, well, yeah, both of his costumes, I would say is very beneficial for this fight. But his Fiend Scholar, his ability is to recover SP cost depending on how many, you know, parts on either a boss is hit or how many enemies he hits on the field, right? So in this case, you shouldn't actually be running out of SP with Alstein on the team with DJ Venaka and you casting this. That is if you leveled it up. I did Palette and Helena, so I didn't have enough to do DJ Venaka. But that's just something I wanted to point out, okay? So with that being said, I hope that at least helped you guys out a little bit more. Either to decide whether to spend, you know, your Jelly Bean crystals, right, on their exclusive skill tree stats. And let's head into it, okay? Level 10. And like I said, we're just going to be tackling just, you know, with the first team. That's all you need for this. Also, another thing too is Dalvi being on this team is also very beneficial, just because of the fact that you should actually have her. You should have her summer vacation already at +5, just because it's free. So right then and there, you already have something to work with here with the costume wise, right? So that's what I mean. It's like this fight isn't gonna be too rough. It's a very simple fight, and I like to keep it simple, you know. Now, if we look at the conditional skills of Rue, first thing off the bat is you do not want to get chain stack on this boss, because if you go above 10 or at least 10 chain, she actually does an instant death kill, which is something you want to avoid. So in this case, chain stacking isn't gonna be so reliable, so to say, on this one. Okay. So if we look at the conditional skills, now I'm gonna go in the order that I usually do it in, okay, because I think it's a lot more simple, right? Keyword there. So if we look at the one that I would activate first, it would be this one. So activate the skill if SP is 10 or higher at the end of the player's turn. This skill activates a maximum one time per team in battle. So depending on how many teams you have on the field, you can activate this either 2 or 3 more times, right? Or 2, 3 altogether. Sorry, I should say that. Attack the enemy 4 times, dealing 2,098 physical damage, equal to 200% of your attack per hit. Increases the enemy's crit rate by 100% for 10 turns. Increase enemy crit damage by 400% for 10 turns. So that's a lot of crit for us. Crit rate, and critical damage. So this is why I said, you don't really need a lot of crit damage for Venaka, in this case with her bond stat, right? That's why I said this. Even Nebris, if you're rocking Nebris, you don't even need a lot of crit damage either, okay? And 10 turns is basically like the entire fight. So we're going to activate this first, right? And then we'll talk about the rest here. So let's go activate this first. So team layout, this is how I have it set up, okay? You want a top-down view, right? It doesn't matter, okay, with the team layout. Just remember to have, Dalvi and Venaka at least being the ones getting hit by this. You see this? Because they're the ones that you want to have hit by, because they're your DPS units, correct? And as for everybody else, you can just leave them here. To be honest, this is really the only one you're going to be hit by, right? So, that you need, I should say. So, yeah, they don't have to move on the field. Now, I'm going to activate Helena's top idol ability. Next, going to activate Deanna's property damage, aura for everybody, and her 30% increase in crit rate, right? And everybody else, just normal attack. You don't have to do anything else with that. So, everything's set up. Okay, here we go. Okay, there you go. Here you have it. So like I said, top idol Helena's skill, she supplies that barrier, which reduces, the impact on us getting hit. Because, like I said, I have, magic resistance armor on here instead. So that's why, a level 10 at least, you can pass it like this. I don't know about the higher levels above 13. I think, not 13. I think maybe 14 and 15, you're going to have to change it up then to just defense, straight up defense. But I lasted, with magic resistance armor for my team up until level 12. So, and they survived, by the way. They did. But like I said, if you don't want to take the chance, rock the invulnerable armor and the Helmet Carnage, okay? Next up, we're going to be doing is this conditional skill now, right here. So at turn 3, right? So activate the skill if any part stats have been weakened. Weakening. Oh, wait, no, sorry, not that one. Excuse me. This one, right here. I misclicked. This skill is activated when any part is affected by vulnerability. So this skill activates a maximum one time per team in battle. Defenses of all parts. Basically, in a nutshell, Rue's defenses for magic and defense go down for 6 turns, okay? And she attacks us 7 times, okay? So if you look at her stats here, and yeah, she actually does have magic defense and defense, okay? So that's actually really nice. So that's why you would do this next, okay? And there's a reason why I'm going from bottom to up here, okay? Which I'll explain. But this is what you would do here, right? Activate not DJ Venaka. Wind Dancer Venaka. Apply that vulnerability, right? Put Alstein next. Use the Silent Fury skill to restore all your SP, basically. Dalvi can activate her bleed ability, right? For summer vacation. And there you have it. And I think everything's set up, right? So let's get it. Now, the reason why I'm going in this particular order is because the first conditional skill lasts for 10 turns. The next one right here, right, lasts for 6 turns. And then the one that I'm about to activate right now lasts for 4 turns. You see the pattern there? So basically what I'm doing is I'm having the duration of all these last longer. Because, like, let's just say if I did, you know, this one first, you know, for stat weakening on Rue, it would only last for 4 turns. And by the time I get to the end of this fight, it would have already have expired. You follow what I'm saying? So that's why I went for this one first, because it's 10, right? So 10 is a lot of turns. Then 6 turns is next, right? So that'll last me quite a while before it ends. And then 4 turns, and then this one is 2 turns. So that's why I'm doing it in this order, you know? Simple, right? Okay, so for the last one, for stat weakening on Rue, this is why we're going to have Allstein, Sage, and Blue Clouds. So we're going to equip him first. Now remember, do not get a 10 hits or above with chain, okay? You got to be careful with this one. So we're going to do this. This is how it's going to be set up. So Deanna's going to activate her energy guard, because if she were to attack regularly, she would have activated the instant death, because it would have been 10 hits. And Allstein attacks with this 7 times, right? It's a 7 hit attack. Okay, another reason too is, now I'm going to show you here, is the reason why we level up that AoE scale here, right? For the range, is because it tackles all the parts now, which is what you want, right? And for DJ Venaka, right? So this is why leveling up her skill range would be important for this, right? Now, you don't have to necessarily do it, but I would recommend doing it, you know? You can also even use this skill with her even in PvP mode. But yeah, so you see how it targets the very back too, as well as the other two. So that's really nice, you know? So there you have it. And then Dalvi is just going to attack, you know, 1 time. And that's all you're going to need. So let's get it. So you have it, 9. We just made it, right? We just made it. Okay, so last one. Rue is basically going to apply herself 1000% wind vulnerability. And basically, you just need to have more than 4 debuffs on the enemy. So if we look here, Rue has 6 debuffs. That's what we need. So this is going to kick in. And 1000% wind vulnerability is a lot. Okay, that's a lot of wind vulnerability. Okay, so with Helena, you can either save it for now, right? Not save it for now. You can either save it for the next turn, this ability, or you can just not activate it. It don't matter, okay? Rue, she's going to be taking a good catnap after this. So I'll just show it to you guys what it looks like if you just don't activate it, okay? Wind Venaka here, her belly dancer one, we'll just put her, you know, up here. Dalvi will activate her Bright Moon ability, okay? And we'll just have this be the hit that, you know, that does it. Okay, so reapply some more wind vulnerability. Everybody attacks basic, right? And then you have Dalvi's skill for Bright Moon. Okay, so after Bright Moon, for Dalvi's skill, this is the last one. And then just do it this way, right? Let me just show you guys. Boom, boom. Now this is where you actually want to just have a chain, because since this is technically the last hit, don't matter, right? So this is how I started off with, and this is how I ended with. So I hope this guide helped you guys out. Hope it was simple, straight to the point. If you have any comments down below on what types of setups you used, I would love to hear them and love to read them, you know? And yeah, look at that damage, right? So with that being said, guys, I'll catch you all in the next Brown 2 video when I believe Momonier drops, right? And remember, guys, remember, pull wisely. 3rd anniversary right around the corner, okay? With Momonier as well. So I'll catch you all on the next. Take care, guys. And if you want to look at the damage, here it is. Venaka really took Rue out there. Okay? In case you're curious. Okay, guys. See ya.